Hey, I'm Brandon with Annihilator Broadheads. Thanks for checking us out today. Just want to show you the madness behind the shape. You'll notice right out the gate, this is something very different. We add a what we call a partial back scoop wedge to this broadhead. And really the point of it is to create a greater efficiency. And what I mean by that is whether this is shot in air or going through an animal, we are creating an air pocket and displacing visceral material and matter away from the center mass of your arrow. So what that means is if you look at this broadhead, all the drag, whether in flight or in an animal, is all on this arrow. There's significantly more drag here than there is on just a broadhead. So what we want to do is create a broadhead to allow the arrow to essentially draft right behind that broadhead, creating that air pocket. Same reason why NASCAR, you would see people drafting each other, right? It's creating greater efficiency as they drive. And so same concept. So as this goes through an animal, it displaces that meat visceral material away from the center mass, which also means not only is it efficient, but it's punching a hole through an animal rather than just cutting a slit like a standard broadhead. And so as reflected in this car trunk here, you can see it's actual holes. And if you punch a hole in an animal, it's a wound channel that can't seal. And so this is actually the exact broadhead, I'll give you a close-up, that we shot through this trunk lid 30 times. And you can see there's pretty much no visual wear on it. Maybe a little bit of the oxidization just got kind of rubbed off a little bit as it went through, but the edge is still great. You can still cut your nail with it. It's fantastic. So we're also an extremely durable head, and really it's because of a couple reasons. One, it's because if you look at the shape of this broadhead, it's just a bunch of triangles. There's nothing stronger than the shape of a triangle. And so the other thing is it's a single piece investment casted part. So this doesn't separate right here. So if there's any type of pressure on this stem, it's completely locked into this. There's no separation. It's also made out of a tool steel called 4140, which is extremely durable, super tough steel. It's actually hardened to a 52 Rockwell. And what's cool is you can take this broadhead and say you want to do your own broadhead test and shoot it through plywood or shoot it through steel or heck, even shoot it into concrete and see what happens. You can actually sharpen it yourself flat on a stone like this with just a couple passes. And it just is super easy. So edge retention is great, durability is great, the flight is awesome. And so we are one of the smaller cut diameters out there, which helps in our efficiency in flight and stabilization. It's a 0.91 cut diameter, which is just over 7/8. But as it flies, it actually creates that air pocket I was talking about, and it actually creates turbulence. And the turbulence, if you were to diagram that, would actually cover the entire arrow shaft, which means it's going to act like a shield against crosswinds, etc. So, so we're durable. We punch holes in animals, and we don't do so by trading out flight. It still has outstanding flight. And in addition to that, it's a wound channel that actually creates more lethality in your animal because it's a hole. So we believe we've really just changed the game on broadheads and really challenged the industry and the status quo. And so we would love for you to shoot it, see it for yourself, and give us the feedback and test it on some animals. So,
with that air pocket that's created behind the head in flight, do you guys find that with that turbulence, there's any particular clutching configurations that have worked best for you guys?
Yeah, so great question. So most broadheads need steering. We actually shoot these with low profile 3D vanes because we actually don't need to steer these. And it's because of that turbulence, it stabilizes itself. So if we were to go like a bigger cut diameter, which we're coming out with one this spring, then you will need to stabilize that. But we try to have the perfect balance so that the common guy can just take this out and go hunting and not have to tune. So zero tuning required.
And in your guys' practice, when you speak about accuracy, how far have you guys tested shooting these heads? What kind of flight are you getting?
We've tested in low poundage, high poundage, heavy arrows, light arrows of all different kinds. We shoot them out to 100 yards all the time. After 70 yards, it's just going to depend on your arrow configuration, but you should expect field point accuracy out to very long range. I shoot these dead nuts out to very long range, and I feel very comfortable shooting them with field point accuracy out to 100 yards. That's me. Your setup may be different, but we're confident in telling you that this will be a long range, field point accurate broadhead for you.
Gotcha. And then from some of the feedback you've been getting from customers, if a guy does, say, hit a shoulder bone and the head does punch through and it creates that big hole for the arrow to just kind of follow in behind, do you guys tend to have good results?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we never tell people to shoot him in the shoulder, obviously, but in the chance that you do, our customers have reached out to us. They've said they've had a lot of dead animals that got shot in the shoulder this year. So whether that's elk, we had a guy took a 104-yard shot on a big rosy, complete pass through. We had another guy had an elk. He shot through both shoulders. 60-yard shot. It happens. We got a guy in Hawaii that started shooting pigs through the shoulder and trying to go for the hard shot out of his tree stand. So again, you know, that's their feedback. We'll never tell you to do that, but it has been pretty cool to see that. So, but yeah, we definitely recommend shooting them in the boiler house.
Awesome. And then you guys, you mentioned earlier that the head comes a little bit slightly overweight with the thought that you can continue to use this head over and over.
Yeah, we ship them about 1.5 grams heavy. But just for all your viewers, we ship them batched, so they're pretty much matched. We guarantee it within a 0.4 grain tolerance. We really try to match them as best as possible. I'm pretty sure every broadhead we ship is within 0.2 grains, but you know, your scale may be different than ours. So.
Awesome. And you mentioned a newer cut diameter too. What is that new one that you're coming out with this?
Yeah, so we're coming out with an 1 1/8 inch, and we're still testing it right now. We do have prototypes here. This is a 150 grain prototype. It's an 1 1/8 inch cut diameter. You can see it follows the exact same geometry as our 0.91 cutting diameter 100 grain. Assuming all of our testing goes well, which right now it's promising and we're pretty excited about it, we'll be releasing this in a 125, what we call the XL version. So 125 XL and 150 grain XL. Should be available this spring.
Awesome. Looks like a great head. Appreciate the time.
Cool, man. Thank you, guys.